Just a quick one before we dive in. I've just opened up 2 brand new ways to work with me. If you're an established beauty professional who's ready to increase your revenue, either in your clinic or by moving into the online mentoring and educational space, you can join me for a 2-month container where we build and validate your first online offer or your next big move. Or if you're ready to go all in, there is a 7-month private mentorship where we build, launch and scale your new revenue stream together. If you're not sure which one's right for you, I'm offering a handful of free business clarity calls, quick and powerful to map out your fastest path and to see which container fits best. Just DM me the word revenue on Instagram or check the link in the show notes and email me. Let's get into the episode.
Welcome to the Beauty Build podcast with me, Zara King. As a coach for beauty pros, it is my mission to help you earn more, work less, and create an unstoppable mindset. This is the show where we explore all of that. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting your beauty business, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and join us on the journey. And for more, get yourself inside my private community, The Beauty Build on Facebook. Hello, gorgeous people. Welcome back to another episode. I am super excited to have you here. It is Boxing Day. Happy Boxing Day, everyone. I cannot believe that this year is almost over. Isn't it mental? Hope you had a good Christmas. I absolutely love Christmas, and what we do is we go to my mum's and the kids are all absolutely spoiled. And yeah, it's a lovely, lovely time. I get the best of both worlds because we don't celebrate Christmas on my other half side of the family, and my family do. So it's just easy because we don't have to split our time as much as like some of the other couples that I know, which is really cool because I get the best of both. My kids get the best of both and they absolutely love it. So yeah, hope you've had the best time. I hope you've enjoyed some time off. I'm not sure about you, but when I was running my beauty business, I used to work right up to Christmas, and then I'd get back into it basically tomorrow, straight after Boxing Day and in between Boxing Day and New Year. And I just think that you just have a break too, and I think it was probably a couple of years into being home based that I was like, no, I'm not working that many days in the lead up. I'm going to stop on the 22nd or 23rd or whatever, and then I'm going to carry on in the new year in January. So yeah, I hope that you're having a great holiday time anyway with your family. And yeah, if this time of year is one of those funny ones for you for any particular reason, my inbox is always open as well, so always available if anyone needs a chat. And if this year is a bit of a funny one for you, because I know that some people it is, So yeah, what I wanted to do was, because we're coming to the end of the year, was I kind of wanted to talk about the fact that I've seen 12 years in this industry. I have been mobile for 4 years. And that was alongside my corporate job. I was in salon for 2, I think it was. And then, the rest of it was at home. So basically 6 years at home. And the thing is, I still see clients now. I still do people's nails, brows, and lash lifts and tints. I don't really do anything else because I don't have the space and all the rest of it. But I still see clients. I still love it. I'm such a huge advocate of the beauty industry. I'm such a huge advocate of still getting treatments. I love the spa. I love having my bits done. I don't always, because I haven't got masses of time on my hands, but if I want my lashes done, that's the first thing I get. Nails, I do my own, but if I'm having it done for an occasion, I still go and get it done because treating myself is still a huge thing for me. So anyway, I love the industry so much, as you know, and I thought, you know what, let's have a little chat about the lessons. Let's have a look at the lessons that I've learned through all of my different stages in the beauty industry. So what I do is I think I'm going to start off with the mobile side of things, because each section, each kind of area taught me more lessons. And it's great because I'm a firm believer that everything happens at the right time. Everything happens for a reason, everything happens at the right time. And I was supposed to learn these lessons in this order for some reason. And if you're in that boat where you're kind of thinking at the moment this is hard or whatever, these lessons that you're learning now, they're coming at you at the right time in your life and in your business, because everything, I believe, happens for a reason. So anyway, when I was mobile, I remember the main advantage, right, wasn't for me, it was for the clients. So I was mobile alongside my corporate career. So I would like finish work and then go out, and I'd be out all evening, and then I'd do weekends as well. And for the client, it was great because I was like quite flexible, and it was very convenient for them to have somebody coming into their home, right? So the biggest lesson for me that I've learned, or that I had learned at the time, was that you can take advantage of what a convenience it is for the client, right? You are doing them such a service. Like when I still get this type of thing now where somebody says to me, oh, well, you know, I don't get my hair done in salon anymore. I use a lady that comes to me because she's cheaper or whatever. And I think, are you crazy? That lady is saving you time, effort, money, all the rest of it. The only thing that isn't available is maybe a backwash that makes you feel a bit more comfortable. But for everything else, her time, effort, travel costs, all the rest of it, and your convenience, you should be paying more. Do you know what I mean? The way some people look at it is the wrong way around, and some people are doing this correctly, and some people are doing it in the way where they are utilising it. They're earning more money, the clients appreciate it, and you know, it's just so good when you can actually tap into the fact that that is a USP. That is a USP, and I learnt that after the fact, you know, like long into the fact, I learnt that. And it creates such a loyal client base, because if the people really do love that mobile service, it creates such a loyal client base because you're coming into their home, and I think it's quite special, you know, and I feel like it, even though you may not be personalising each service, it's already personalised to a certain level because you're in the home, and the setup is unique because their setup is different to your next client's setup, because the house is different, the layout, do you know what I mean? Everything is personalised already, and that is what I realised. And those things you should really be taking advantage of to turn them into a USP so that you can charge more. That's the first lesson that I learned, because obviously when I was doing the business that way, one of the biggest challenges was the logistics, you know, like the time management. It was like, well, someone would book in for, I don't know, brows and nails of an evening at one end of town, and then someone would book in, you know, something else at the other end of town, and then someone would book in and they'll be near the other one, and I just think, this is annoying. You know, I'm going up one end to come back down the other end to go back up the other end. So the logistics and the time management is such a challenge. And the lesson that I learned here was that communication with your clients is absolutely key, like an open line of communication, and having that kind of level of confidence to say to them, I need to schedule you here, or this is available, not, you know, and getting more crystal clear on having things in place to make sure that your time management and logistics are done as best as you possibly can. And I wish I had a booking system for that reason, because it would be so much better to be able to put in wait time, like in between client times, and do it all that way and have it all worked out for me, kind of thing. And to be able to have slots open that I wanted to have, so that I could see it all on a system and think, well, there's a gap here, so I'll close that, and I'll try and move people so they're on the same day or they're near each other, so I'll try and move. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, even talking about it makes me a bit exhausted. I just think, oh, the people that are still out there now doing mobile, hats off to you. You know, and I'm hoping that, of course, you've got booking systems and things are all sorted, and the logistics are easier for you than they were for me back in the day. But that was one of the biggest lessons that I learned, that, you know, you've got to be able to have that level of confidence to communicate with the clients and to schedule everything as best you possibly can to benefit yourself as well, because you don't want to be wasting time running up and down and all the rest of it. So that was the second lesson, really. And the next one was the fact that you really have to adapt to your different environments and different client preferences when you're mobile. And I think it really pushed me to, I mean, I was in a corporate career that I loved anyway, and I was always growing as a person and getting more confident with talking to a different sort of array of people. And I am quite an adaptable person, I would say. So I can kind of hold a conversation with anyone, and that really helped me do that. And the lesson that I learned there was the fact that, you know, clients are all different, but the best you can do is, you know, be yourself and have what I would call like a routine with each client. And I think that's probably where I really learned it, was when I was mobile, first starting out. I suppose you would do this in whichever way you first start out, really. It really serves you to have a real routine. And I know it can get repetitive, and you can be talking to the clients and you can be saying the same things over and over every day, but it really does help. So, because when you're mobile, you've got to adapt to the space, and it helps if you've got that routine going so that you don't get off track, because there is a completely different space or whatever that you're adapting to so much going on around you that you need to have that level of routine with everything else that you can control in your business. So that, everything you take with you, everything you do, everything you say to the client as well, upon arrival, and all the rest of it. And then you get more personal during the conversation, don't get me wrong, but I really realised that because I was adapting to too many other things going on around me, it was, and client preferences, I then had to have that kind of level of, well, this is my routine. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. It does in my mind. And yeah, mobile was great. I feel like I built up quite a strong reputation when I was mobile. When you're mobile and you get a lot of good feedback and you get a lot of referrals, it's really good, because if you can adapt to people's households and you can create a really nice environment for people in their own home, there's so many opportunities to stand out and be exceptional and offer that exceptional service when you're mobile. So I think if you are mobile still, I think really make use of that, because delivering that exceptional service and making it special for your clients really will build you a strong reputation. Because like I said, I think there's something about being mobile. There's something that's already personalized. There's something that's already really, something to thank you for and talk about and give you good feedback for. There's already a load of that. So I think it's good to be able to hone in on that. And then I transitioned into salon, obviously. And the reason I transitioned into salon was because I needed a bit more structure. And my brother-in-law opened a salon, and he was like, got this proposition for you. Shall you come on board and take on the kind of beauty side for me and just help out basically, and work from there? And I was like, yeah, let's have a think. The reason I went for it was because I was so tired of being mobile after work, and I thought, well, I'm still at my corporate job, and I really think that having a base would be beneficial for me and just allow me to stop traveling a bit too much and traveling around, for long hours and getting tired, and it's just the pack up, isn't it? And the, setting up and the packing up and all the rest of it. So that's why I moved into salon, because I wanted a bit more structure. And I actually learned that is exactly what it gives me. It really did give me that. So if you're out there and you're thinking you want that and you're worried, you don't know really whether or not it's going to give you that structure, I believe, in my experience, it really does give you more structure, because you have a base. You can leave your stuff there. You're not picking up and packing up and then unpacking and all the rest of it. And you can, earn more money, right? You can earn more money because you can see more clients, because you're not running around in between clients. And I also think that the other lesson that I learned was a lot more about the industry. So because I think I was working in a salon with different beauty therapists straight out of college, I was working with the different kind of products and equipment that the manager would get in. I was working with hairdressers as well as beauty therapists, and I think there was just more opportunity for that kind of knowledge to grow and that collaboration with different people and networking with different people in a salon with a little bit of footfall, in a salon with clientele that are coming in for different treatments than what you offer. I think it gives you that wider range of ideas of what goes on in the industry. It gives you that more kind of in-depth knowledge of what's going on in different areas of the industry, and that's invaluable stuff. It really is, because then it allows you to talk more with people that are doing things outside of your scope, outside of your business. It allows you to tap into a different audience as well, because maybe their clients want what you've got and maybe your clients want what they've got. It just gives you more opportunities, I think, to be, if you're in a busy salon. And with that, of course, is going to come confidence. So that's the biggest lesson, that salon experience will give you confidence. I think some people want to come out of their courses or their college course and all the rest of it and go self-employed straight away. Some people want to do it as a hobby. Some people go into salon, and I think the salon environment is an experience. It really is. And it's one that will grow your confidence if you find a great salon, if you find a great team, if you fit really well. And, and also there are people that don't gel well in certain salons, and I've seen it all the time. You know, teams have got issues and things like that, and some people are made to work for themselves. You know, some people are made to just work for themselves. Other people are made to go into salon and really thrive off owning a salon or running a team. Other people love being part of a team and being kind of like having that direction and being told what to do, and to being told like this is the guidelines of what we do here in the salon and all the rest of it. But if you want to build some confidence, if you want to build up some kind of team confidence, some kind of leadership confidence as well, then a salon is a really good place to do that, because in this industry, those are your options, aren't they? Work for someone in a salon or go self-employed but work in a salon, which comes with its own challenges, obviously. That was what I was. And the biggest lessons there were it will grow your confidence, because there are going to be times when, let's just say, you run your business, or you want to run your business slightly different, and it'll either give you the confidence to crack on and do that, and you'll have the support of other people, and you'll have that confidence to network with other people, because that's what it builds up for you. Or you'll realise that you get more ideas and you get more inspiration from the salon owners and different teams and the different people. It's just, I think salon experience is second to none. I think it's like really unique. Depending on the salon you work in, obviously. I've only worked in one. So, yeah, I'd love to hear from people, actually. If there's anyone that listens in that has worked in different salons, the different experiences would be really great to hear about, because I've only worked in the one. But yeah, biggest lesson learned, it will definitely grow confidence when it comes to how to, A, run your business, B, speak to people, right? It is really, really, really good for that, especially if there's a bit of footfall for you as well, because, again, you'll get new clients coming in more than you would if you were, in the back of your house doing stuff and having to market yourself and take on new clients yourself all the time with no footfall. And there's nothing more kind of nerve-wracking than the first time someone walks in that door in the salon, like off the street, and says to you, "Hi Zara, do you do this? Have you got a space?" And you're like, yeah, of course I have. Come on in. And, and it's... There's nothing more nerve-wracking, I don't think, than when that first thing happens and you're like, oh, this is a brand new off-the-street inquiry and she wants to book in now, like we've got the space. Anyway, so that was a lesson that I learned in salon, and I think it just ties in, doesn't it, with like the salon dynamic, which I've spoken about, because sometimes it can create loads of lessons, right? For me, it was the fact that it was a really good family fun vibe, and yeah, it showed me how I would want to run it if it was my own salon. It showed me how to help and run the beauty side of things, because that is pretty much what I did. It helped me with, the talking to different people in different areas of the beauty industry and the hair industry as well. And yeah, I think also the biggest lesson for me was dealing with customers and clients' expectations, because I feel like in salon you get a lot more of the kind of, oh, this client needs to talk to you, or I did anyway. When I worked in the salon, it was more a case of, oh, this client needs to chat to you about this and this and this. And yeah, it was one of those things that really made me realise that the clients have different expectations, and you have to be professional and you have to do your best to absolutely uphold the right level of service that you want to do, and in the best way possible. It grows you as a person, let's just say. And yeah, salon was great. I think quite quickly when you work in salon if it's for you or not, because you have that personal creativity, because you're a beauty therapist, or whatever it is that you do in this industry. And if you're not running that salon yourself, you don't have that creative control. I think that's one of the lessons I learned as well, was that I didn't necessarily have any creative control, and I wanted it. I really wanted it. I did. I can admit that now. I can say that I really did want that, because I love that with anything I do. I want creative control. I just do. And I think you'll realise as soon as you go into salon whether or not those salon guidelines work for you or whether they don't. And if you're in really good terms with the owners, managers, whatever, and for me it was family run, so there was great times, and then there were hard times. But yeah, your personal creativity can sometimes be hindered if you do work for somebody else in a salon. And then obviously I went home based. So when I went home based, it was because I'd had a Leah, actually. So I'd had a Leah, and I just didn't really fancy going into the salon much more. I really didn't. And then I carried on working from home, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. Although my setup was literally rubbish, and by, I think, so she was born in the 2016, and by the 2018, I'd gone full time. So I quit my full time job, the sales job that I was in, the corporate sales career that I had for such a long time. I quit that a few years later, and the reason I did that was because, again, I wanted a better life balance, right? I was working still, normal hours, 9 to 5, and had a baby, had a house to run, had plans for another baby. I also, I was up and down seeing clients all the time for my sales career. I'd be on the road sometimes seeing clients, not all the time because I was office based, but I would see clients, or would go out on events quite a bit as well. So I was always up and out and in and around North London, and seeing different people, and then like you'd get back late, and it was just that work-life balance. Like, the dishes were piling up in the sink. I mean, they still do now. If my husband listened to this, he'd crack up, because they do still sometimes now. But back then it was bad. It was worse, like I'd be like, oh, I can't be bothered to do this type of thing. And he was tired and I was tired, and we needed a better work-life balance. And I know that's not really a thing. And, it's hard to find. And I talk about it all the time, because this was my thing when I started the Beauty Build, was like, I really wanted to show people how they can have that balance, because you can have balance. But it's also a case of not doing everything all at the same time. Hence why I had to quit my job, right? That is the long and short of it. That is my honest truth on it. And I think, that was the biggest lesson, was that you just can't do it all at the same time. Like, we want to, but we can't. And we can have it all. We just cannot have it all at the same time. I think I've learnt that. And the flexibility though, absolutely great. When I started working from home, biggest lesson, absolutely love the flexibility. Can be double-edged sword, because obviously you've got to get up, and sometimes you don't want to, because there's no boss telling you to get up. There's no, salon to go to. There's no place of work. So it can be a double-edged sword, because you're kind of like, oh, do I really want to get dressed, or I want to put my makeup on, and I'm only at home, But actually, it's great, because, be grateful that you can get up, you can do as you please, really and truly. You can book those clients in when you want to, and you're in the comfort of your own home, and it's lovely, lovely, lovely. So the flexibility was so good, and I just think you have to go for it. Oh, that's another thing, actually. You have to just go for it. So when I was moving over to the sort of home-based, a lot of my colleagues were saying to me at my full-time job, why don't you just do that business? Right? And if you've listened to the first episode of this podcast, you'll realize that I also had another business. When I had Aaliyah, I started another business as well. And we were printing baby clothes and stuff. And they were like, girl, you're doing these businesses, right? Why don't you make them a thing? Why don't you do more of this and quit the job? And the thing is, I got paid really well. So you know what it's like? It's scary, and you don't want to go too fast too soon and all the rest of it, and it's a bit like risky. But with everything in life there is risk, and I tell you what, the lesson I learned going home based and then quitting my full-time job was, you have to go for it. There's none of this, you can prepare, you can have a few months savings. That is what I would do, obviously, but there's nothing else you can do. Like, I hear it all the time from coaching clients telling me, Zara, I need to get X amount of clients, or I need to try and fill that diary. And I'm like, listen, until you're there, until you're free, until you're doing it, it's not going to get done. You've got to be there to fill that gap. You've got to be there to get that bum on that chair. You've got to be there. So you just got to go for it. That was the biggest lesson, is that you do have to get out of your own way. Stop making the excuses and absolutely go for it. Because I tell you what, once this is your livelihood, once this is your main stream of income, you're going to go for it. You're going to get it to work. You're going to have to make sure it works. So biggest lesson is definitely that, without a doubt. And I'm not going to say that anything else tops it. I'm really not. You've got to go for it. But there are others that I just want to quickly tell you about. So when I was home based and I'd quit the job and I started earning what I desire, everything was going great, absolutely loving life, I realised that the profit margins at home are better when you go home based, because you have lower overheads. Now, there's a caveat to this, because it does depend on how many other outgoings you have to run your business, right? So I had a website, I had a booking system, I had what else did I have? I had training that I would attend every single year, and I'd make sure that I was always upskilling myself. So I realised the profit margins were always going to be more difficult for me because I ran my business super seriously, and I had larger overheads all the time anyway, because I really wanted to treat my business like a business, and always be upskilling, always be offering my clients the best products, the best service, everything. And but when I went into home base, I realized that I wasn't traveling around as much. There were other things that did outweigh it. But if you are home based and you really good in everything that you offer, but you still kind of you're careful, you don't go crazy on stock and all the rest of it, you can have some really decent profit margins. That was a very good lesson that I learned. But like I said, it does not mean that you do not invest in your business, your skills and all the rest of it, and your clients. And I feel like as well, when you're home based, and probably the last few years of my business made me really realize this, was that when I needed new clients, it seemed to be that referrals for me when I was home based were really acted upon. And I felt like, and to be honest, this is similar to when I was mobile. And that, again, I think it's that kind of personal touch, because you're in your home, and when you're mobile, you're in their home. And salon just misses that sometimes, that personal touch. I think that referrals were massive for me when I was home based, and I pushed them and I was aggressive with them, that the offer that I gave people was amazing, and they wanted to, I really enticed them to do it. But it was the loyalty there, I feel like, was incredible. Don't get me wrong, I was in the business for however many years, 6 years before I even went home base. So people did have an understanding of what I was all about, and I had identified some of my key loyal clients, but they grew and grew and grew. And my business actually went through exponential growth when I was home based, because I had to make it work. Like I said before, I was out of my full-time job. I had to make it work. It was my income, and I wanted it to be a real success. So I put the work in. And when you do that, that loyalty does come. And I think that home-based beauty pros really do have the advantage when it comes to increasing loyalty and asking for referrals, because it's so personal in those kind of one-to-one settings where you're holding that client's hand or touching their face or massaging, whatever it is you're doing, for that amount of time, and they're always coming into your space. Is so personal. So that's what I would say. And then on the flip side of that, obviously, you've still got to create that professional environment, haven't you? And but also make it really inviting and really warm and friendly. And I remember I used to panic at first when I'd have people coming around, because it was my home, and I was like, I do have kids, and sometimes there is mess, and I had to shut doors, because when I first started at home, I was literally in the kitchen. And where I've gone from salon to home, I was like, oh, are you, every time someone wanted to book in, I'd say, well, I haven't really got a great setup at the minute. Are you okay with that? And they'd be like, yep, no problem. And then they'd recommend people to me. So I ended up, still being busy. But then when I did the beauty room in the house, and it was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, the only problem was getting them to it, because they had to come upstairs. And so I was like, oh my gosh, you've got to clean your whole house, you've got to hoover everywhere, you've got to shut all the doors. We had all the kids' bedrooms, they all, you know what it's like. So that's one thing I would say about home based, is let that go a little bit. So the lesson I would say that I've learned is that when you find your people, they will appreciate the effort that you go to make it professional and inviting. And that is all you need to do. I don't think when people are coming into a home-based salon where you've got kids, I don't think it needs to be every other room in the house needs to be absolutely spotless. I think you can just shut the doors. That was the lesson. Just shut the doors and make it professional and inviting in your beauty room, and that's it. But if people love you, it's so nice that I learned this and that I had proof of this. When you find your people and you really work on who that ideal client is and delivering a good service, you can be set up in your kitchen, you can be set up on your sofa, and people will love you for you. And that is just so, so nice when you get to that kind of awareness level with some of the clients that you have. There's a really, really big lesson that I learned. I wouldn't say it's as big as the one that I learned about just going for it, because that can hold you back for years and years and years. But the next one is the fact that, I wonder if you can guess what it is. It's my favourite topic. Give you a second before I announce, but get that thought in your mind. Boundaries. The home-based business was the one that really made me think about my boundaries. I think when I started out mobile, if I'd have been older and wiser and stronger, then I would have 100% needed that, and it would have bettered my business back then, but I didn't really hone in on any boundaries back then. I think when I went home-based, it really hit home because of the fact that I was, running this alongside my babies, needing things to be on time. It was more important to me that my personal and business side of things were kept separate. And, boundaries was a massive, massive thing. If you don't have boundaries in your business, learn from my mistakes and sit down and think about anything that annoys you or gives you the ick, as I like to call it, in your business, and whack a boundary in place that you can stick to via a policy or a personal boundary, whatever that may be. But the key is with the boundaries is sticking to them. And I've tried and tested this, and that was the whole point of the beauty business from home, trialing everything, testing, sticking to things. And it proved that lesson is keep your word to yourself. Huge lesson. Huge. The other thing I think as well when you're at home is more than ever that I had to have an online presence, because marketing my business was key. And that's when, I started, it was before all the lockdowns or just before that, I started really doing business courses and marketing courses and, things for the beauty industry, because I needed to. I realised that if I wanted to earn more money, I needed to learn more. I needed to learn a little bit more about how to run it a bit better and, up the ante a little bit. So I needed that, and it really made me realise that the online presence is key when you're a home-based beauty business, because, unless people really know that you're there, you need to market the out of your business. You've got to really market it. So this day and age, online is great, because how amazing is it that we can get in front of loads of people pretty much for free? So good. But the lesson I learned with that, right, was that when I was marketing the business and when things were when I wasn't busy, that was fine, because I could spend the time, in my working hours, if you like, doing things like that. But what I realised was that I was going to get busy one day, and then when was I going to market the business? Because, external circumstances still happen. Clients can still drop off at any minute. So you still need to market your business right. And I learned that along the way as well. Another lesson there for you to note down. But the thing is, when you're doing your marketing, I think it's best to actually really include these types of things in your working hours. So when you're working out costings, you base it on the hours that you face clients. So that means that your hourly rate has to go up, because you're not seeing your clients as much, because you take some time out of your working hours to work on the business. That was a big lesson for me. And it made it feel like when I was working on the business in my allocated hours, in my schedule, that it made it feel like, yeah, it is worth it, because I know that my costs are kind of being covered elsewhere. So that was a massive lesson for me to get things sorted in my working hours. And then, the overall growth of my business in 12 years has been ridiculous. I really, and fast as well, because I know it sounds like 12 years is a long time, but really when I put my foot down on the gas, it was like, boom, I could ramp this up as soon as I wanted to. And then, if I didn't want to, I could take my foot off that gas and be like, okay, cool. So for me, I learned quickly, actually. I know it sounds like a long time, and obviously if I was to do it all again, it would be slightly different, but I don't regret a thing, because I feel like I learned all of these lessons along the way, and embraced all those changes along the way at the right times of my life, because I had another job, and then I had a baby, and all the rest of it. So I feel like when I wanted to learn, I learned quickly. And that was the main thing, to embrace that change, to go with it, go with the flow and move, and overall grow, keep growing and keep moving. But yeah, I think those are my key lessons, my loves, over the last 12 years of my time in this industry. If you're just starting out, first things first, figure out who your ideal client is. Start looking at booking systems so you can manage your time and, be really efficient. Start charging correctly. These are all the obvious ones, aren't they? Charge correctly, take deposits, protect your time. And if you don't know how to charge correctly, ask for help, get support, go onto a program, whatever it might be. Reach out to me, get onto a one-to-one. Honestly, just do it, because your business will thank you for it. I've always been somebody that does more than one thing at any one given time. So I've always been, got one job, two jobs, or I'm having the babies and then I'm still working, and then, and then I start a podcast, and then I do whatever. And it's kind of like I'm wearing all the hats, but it's knowing when to put on which hat and which days are for what, and that's how I really tried to live my life, my days. And yeah, I'm not perfect, but I absolutely love it. I think I'll leave it there for you today, guys, and I will see you all on the next one. And it'll be a happy new year. How amazing. Go and have the best Boxing Day ever, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insights that will help you in your beauty business and life. If you did, please take a screenshot and tag me in your stories. If you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me on any of my socials. The links are always in the descriptions. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you more and more great content. Until next time, keep building that business.